Hi everybody, this is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts. This is a special episode for today, and the animal that has been chosen and the person that actually sent this request is a good viewer of ours, and pretty much it is asked for Dimetrodon, the really good, interesting animal, and I think I can help out describing this kind of animal. First off, let's actually start off with its size. The size of Dimetrodon is pretty much probably, I'd say, a little over 10, probably between 10 to 15 feet long, and I probably wouldn't go to that extreme of over 10 feet, but I'd probably say 10 feet long. Its height is a big question because we don't really know how tall it could really be. Considering it's a reptile, it actually have to. It actually has its legs splayed out, so its height is actually going to be a bit of a question mark. But its weight, it would probably be around, probably like at 500 to 600 pounds. So it's a pretty interesting kind of reptile. Now, considering that it is a reptile, it is actually part of the family group of reptiles that are called mammal-like reptiles. So pretty much it's actually closely related to mammals. And the reason why is because, you see, during that time, like right after the Carboniferous, is actually a time when reptiles actually started to split in the evolutionary family tree. And what we see is that there are reptiles that are actually pretty much they actually just stay in the same lineage of the reptilian family, which basically means that it actually just has the legs splayed out, and then they actually branched off into another different kind of thing later on, which I'll describe in later on. But there is the other group of reptiles that actually started to change the body proportions so dramatically, like the skulls. The skulls are so different from the other kind of reptiles, because pretty much is that they actually have an eye socket and also a very small spot in the ear to make the ear. And what makes mammal-like reptiles so different from regular reptiles is that they have different kinds of teeth. And that is very important into the evolution of mammals. And that is very key into how mammals actually kind of are today, is that they have different kinds of teeth in their mouth. Like they have incisors, they got molars, they got premolars, that kind of thing. And Dimetrodon is a carnivore, so it actually is a carnivorous mammal-like reptile. And the things that it probably hunt are probably like large amphibians, probably hunt another mammal-like reptile called Edaphosaurus. And considering that Dimetrodon is pretty much like this, and you can see that it has a sail on the back, and it's been highly debated in paleontology is what is the use of the sail on the back, considering that its skeleton does show tall spines from its vertebrae. And this is very delicate kind of bone structure, so it's not really going to be used for defense, because it's not really designed to like take an impact. And considering that this is a carnivore, it does not need to defend itself with an extra body part, so it actually just uses its mass and also its jaws. And pretty much with mammal-like reptiles like this, and considering that it's actually still part of the family of reptiles, one of the theories for this sail on the back is that it actually is to help thermoregulate, which is the most popular theory in paleontology for Dimetrodon. And that is pretty much how it actually kind of summed up of the debate of whether or not that Dimetrodon and Dilophosaurus, because the Dilophosaurus has the same kind of structure on the same kind of sail on the back, and because you see, during the time when it was actually starting to cool down a little bit, you need to actually control your body temperature. And what they would do is that they would actually point their sails on their backs towards the sun. And what in that particular time is that they would actually the blood will rush up to the sail, and then after that, when the blood is fully heated, it goes down to the body, which actually heats the animal to the temperature that it really needs to be. But now if it gets too hot, then they would actually go and sit in the shade and cool off, or otherwise when there's a cool breeze, then they can point their sails towards the wind, where they can actually cool down a good deal. Now, considering that that Dimetrodon actually does not live during the time of the dinosaurs, that is very important. We always see like popular illustrations saying that Dimetrodon living with dinosaurs and all that kind of stuff. That's not really true. See, Dimetrodon actually lived before the dinosaurs. It actually lived in the Permian period, which is the time of the mammal-like reptiles. And during that time, Dimetrodon was the top carnivore. Now, I would actually say that Dimetrodon would actually be like the top carnivore probably like in the early mid Permian. But when you actually get to the late Permian, you actually see some weird-looking kinds of mammal-like reptiles. You actually starting to see reptiles becoming more like mammals, and they're gigantic. And we actually get to see like these animals looking more like mammals. But considering that Dimetrodon is kind of leaning towards the reptile lineage, it does actually have some reptilian traits. Like the skull, like some parts of the teeth do have reptilian features. The skeletal structure, basically, like the vertebrae and some parts of the leg bones, do actually show that it's actually part of the family of reptiles. Now, when it actually comes down to what its climate would have been like, it would actually have been a cooler climate than what it is kind of today. So it would actually be probably like 30% cooler than what it is today. So a little bit chilly, but probably on the mild side. Not really like totally cold like in the Ice Age, so it probably wouldn't be that cold. I would actually suspect that, considering that Dimetrodon actually had to hunt down some pretty interesting animals, I would actually say that some of the Dimetrodon I didn't get to the part where they actually to the second theory of their sails. Sorry about that. But even though the second theory of the sail is that they probably use for display, like males, considering that they're probably larger than the females, probably they actually tried to woo the females with how big of a sail that they actually have, or otherwise they can change the color of their sails, probably like to a bright red, or otherwise probably have like a pattern on the sail, so it actually make it look like that these animals probably had like a certain spots or otherwise stripes on their sails, but we don't really know about their color. But anyway, I would say, considering that Dimetrodon lived in the early mid Permian period, it actually does have to hunt in a very interesting way. If you actually seen Walking with Monsters, or otherwise known as Before the Dinosaurs, the BBC documentary about the time before dinosaurs, you actually see that Dimetrodon actually makes mock charges to actually confuse the herd of Edaphosaurus. It could be one way to actually can catch like the young and the old and the sick. But I would probably say that it probably did do mock charges, but I would say it's an ambush predator, so it does not need to chase down prey. And considering that its sail would actually give it a hard time to actually give some speed, so it would actually be waving around like crazy. So you would actually see, if you tried to see Dimetrodon in the Permian try to run as fast as it can, you would actually see the sail just waving like it was like a hand in the wind, or otherwise a piece of paper flowing in the wind. So it probably wouldn't be a very good idea to actually have a sail right on your back, considering that it is a reptile and it has to go in like a side-to-side motion. But even though I think probably, considering that it did evolve into more sophisticated mammal-like reptiles later on that almost look like mammals, so I would probably say that probably Dimetrodon did kind of evolve into like some of the Gorgonopsians, which are the mammal-like reptiles that kind of look like almost like a combination of a lion and the wolf, and it has and these animals actually had the first saber teeth, and considering that the Permian extinction is the most massive extinction on the planet's history, it actually wiped out over 90% of life on Earth. It was actually a very destructive extinction. But we don't really know what the extinction might have been. The leading theory is that it might have been a volcanic eruption that actually happened in Siberia, but during that time the continents were all joined together in this one giant supercontinent called Pangaea. So it would actually, so if all the continents are joined together and you actually have a volcanic eruption that far north, it's going to disrupt the entire climate on the Earth. Now, this eruption would have actually been a huge basalt. So it's a big basalt that actually that magma actually just rose over the top of the Earth, or rose through the Earth's crust, and then it just kept spewing and spewing and spewing and spewing. It didn't actually flood the whole planet. It actually just flooded like a certain region of the planet, and it actually created huge shifts in the climate, and pretty much cutting off and pretty much building more carbon dioxide, and also you actually have some carbon monoxide, and also you actually will build up sulfur dioxide, which is a very poisonous gas, and that would actually pretty much actually kind of change the climate dramatically. And I would actually say that it is probably likely that the Permian extinction was caused by the volcanic eruption that actually happened in Siberia around 280 million years ago. And that would actually be a really tough thing for those kinds of animals to actually live through. But in the place in Siberia that actually has those kinds of geologic history that is actually known, is called the Siberian Traps, which is this massive amounts of basalt rock, which is igneous rock that is actually caused by huge amounts of magma, and and I mean it's massive. I mean, I've never been across the ocean. I've never been overseas, so it's pretty hard for me to actually kind of give you an understanding of how big it is. But I would actually say that is the leading theory. But there's also like a comet that actually went down in the Earth, or otherwise there probably would have been like a certain extinction, probably like disease, because considering that everybody lived in in the same areas and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, you can make your own case of what the Permian extinction would have been. And it was a massive extinction, and then you actually have small numbers of species that actually took over the planet, and then after that, you get the age of the dinosaurs in the Triassic period, and that's when dinosaurs actually started to first evolve. But dinosaurs started to evolve around 230 million years ago, so it actually took a long time for life to actually get back on its feet and actually have a good amount of population of the planet, and pretty much actually kind of made the dinosaurs rise to power. But mammals actually evolved around the same time as dinosaurs. So you see, mammals started off small, and then when the dinosaurs became extinct, rose to power. And you actually kind of get the idea. Alright, that's it for now. Next episode will actually be a regular episode, which is I will be answering questions. So if you got a question about dinosaurs or any other prehistoric life, feel free to email me at dinocris71@gmail.com, or otherwise post it on the on the Facebook fan page. So you can go on the Facebook fan page and post your question on there. And I'll actually give you a little bit of a glimpse of what it looks like. So, anyway, here it is. And if this is the Prehistoric Facts fan page, go on Facebook, like it, and you can post your questions on there. And make sure you keep your questions short and to the point. And also, if you in 2 weeks, I'll be doing another special episode. So if you actually do have a dinosaur or any other prehistoric animal that you want me to talk about on a special episode, post it on the fan page, or otherwise you can email it to me. But I would rather want you to actually post it on the fan page, because that way I get a lot of answers, and that way I can actually have a lot of prehistoric animals that I can actually post, that I can actually talk about. And also follow me on Twitter at csgrawl, because that'll be my regular name. And also, make sure that because I post a bunch of cool stuff. If you got a picture or something about a dinosaur, or a funny picture, feel free to send it to me. I have no problem of funny pictures about dinosaurs or any other prehistoric life. So feel free to do that. Anyway, and also to make sure to take care of the people around you, and also for you younger kids out there, make sure to listen to your parents, teachers, and your guardians, because those are the most important people in your life to actually get you motivated to have a good education. Very important that you have a good education in life, because otherwise it's not going to go that well later in life. So make sure that you have a good education, and make sure that you always listen to your parents, your teachers, and your guardians, because those are the most important people that you can actually have. Alright, that's it for now, and I will see you guys next week for an Answering Questions episode. So I'll see you guys later.